failing. You could be freaking kidding me. Oh my gosh. Okay, so like no ears that I want to stay on this side, but whatever. We're gonna try dealing with it. Today we are going to do some reading. I'm very excited and nervous about this because I do stumble over my words, can't pronounce things right at times, and I apologize in advance for that. And I have trouble managing like how long, when to breathe, and trying to be quiet and stuff like that, but I hope you still enjoy. It's been very needed on this channel to have a reading ASMR, and I'm so excited to finally do it. So let's begin. Get a blanket, get all comfy, and let's read this book called Everlost. I believe I got this book in, I want to say elementary, like 4th grade or something. It's very old, as you can see. It's like ripped up and stuff. So it's called Everlost. Everlost by ญ่right there. It looks like a spooky book. It's kind of, I don't know, a somewhat spooky book. Not like crazy, but it's adventurous. It talks about like death and ghosts and stuff. Maybe I should read the back, and you guys can get a little glimpse of what this book is and see if you want to stay and listen. So I'm going to do my best by just talking right here and trying to like talk ear to ear, and yeah. Alright, so I'm going to begin reading the back. Alright, so it's called Everlost. Nick and Allie don't survive the car accident, but their souls don't exactly get where they're supposed to go either. Instead, they're caught halfway between life and death in a sort of limbo known as Everlost. A shadow of the living world filled with all the things in the places that no longer exist. It's a magical yet dangerous place where bands of lost children run wild, and anyone who stands in the same place too long sinks to the center of the earth. Gotta manage my breathing. When they find Mary, the self-proclaimed queen of the lost kids, Nick feels like he's found a home, but Allie isn't satisfied spending eternity between worlds. Against all warnings, Allie begins learning the criminal art of haunting. and ventures into the dangerous territory where a monster called the McGill threatens all the souls of Everlost. In this imaginative novel, ﷺ explores the questions of life, death, and what just might lie in between. I love this book so much. I've read it like a billion times. So I'm really excited to be reading this to you guys and reading it again. I don't know how many chapters we'll go through, but we'll see how much I can do. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy the story as much as I have and do. You can see how messed up it is that I had to tape it right there. The only books that I would ever read is like very mysterious ones. Alright. So there's the acknowledgements and stuff. And then it says part 1. It's afterlights, by the way. Afterlights. So chapter 1. On the way to the light. Okay. On a hairpin turn above the dead forest, on no day in particular, a white Toyota crashed into a black Mercedes, for a moment blending into a blur of gray. In the front passenger seat of the Toyota sat Alexandra, Allie to her friends. She was arguing with her father about how loud the radio should be playing. She had just taken off her seatbelt to adjust her blouse. In the center back seat of the Mercedes, dressed for his cousin's wedding, sat Nick, trying to eat a chocolate bar that had been sitting in his pocket for most of the day. His brother and sister, who sandwiched him on either side, kept intentionally jostling his elbows, which caused the molten chocolate to smear all over his face. As it was a car meant for 4, and there were 5 passengers, there was no seatbelt for Nick. Also on the road was a small piece of sharp steel, dropped by a scrap metal truck that had been loaded to the brim. About a dozen cars had avoided it, but the Mercedes wasn't so lucky. It ran over the metal, the front left tire blew, and Nick's father lost control of the car. As the Mercedes careened over the double yellow line, into oncoming traffic, both Allie and Nick looked up and saw the other's car moving closer very quickly. Their lives didn't quite flash before them. There was no time. It all happened so fast that neither of them thought or felt much of anything. The impact launched them forward. They both felt the punch of the inflating airbags, but at such a high speed and with no seatbelts. The airbags did little to slow their momentum. They felt the windshields against their foreheads. Then in an instant, they had each passed through. The crash of splintering glass became the sound of a rushing wind, and the world went very dark. Ally didn't know what to make of all this quiet yet. As the windshield fell behind her, she felt herself moving through a tunnel, picking up speed, accelerating as the wind grew stronger. There was a point of light at the end of the tunnel, getting larger and brighter as she got closer, and there came a feeling in the heart of calm amazement she could not describe. But on the way to the light, she hit something that sent her flying off course. She grabbed at it, it grunted, and for an instant she was aware that it was someone else she had bumped. Someone about her size and who smelled distinctly of chocolate. Both Ally and Nick went spinning wildly, crashing out of the blacker-than-black walls of the tunnel, and as they flew off course, the light before them disappeared. They hit the ground hard, and the exhaustion of their flight overcame them. Their sleep was dreamless, as it would be for a long, long time. And that is chapter 1. It was only like a page and a half. So, we are on to part 2 now. Right here. Part 2. Arrival in Everlost. Arrival in Everlost. The boy had not been up to the road since forever. What was the point? The cars just came and went, never stopping, never even slowing. He didn't care who passed by his forest on their way to other places. They didn't care about him, so why should he? When he heard the accident, he was playing a favorite game, leaping from branch to branch, tree to tree, as high from the ground as he could. The sudden crunch of steel was so unexpected, it made him misjudge the next branch and lose his grip. In an instant he was falling. He bounced off one limb, then another, and then another, like a pinball hitting pegs. It didn't hurt, all this banging and crashing. In fact, he laughed until he passed through all the branches, and all that remained was a long drop to the ground. He hit the earth hard. It was a fall that would have certainly ended his life, had circumstances been different. But instead, the fall was nothing more than a quicker way to reach the forest floor. You guys will understand this in a moment. He picked himself up and he got his bearings, already hearing the echoes of commotion up on the road. Cars were screeching to a halt. People were yelling. He hurried off in the direction of the sounds. the directions of the sounds, climbing the steep granite slope that led up to the road. This wasn't the first accident on this treacherous strip of highway. There were many, a few every year. Long ago, a car had even left the road, flown like a bird, and landed smack on the floor. Nobody came with it, though. Oh, sure, there had been people in the car when it had crashed. But they got where they were going even before the boy came to inspect the wreck. This new wreck was bad, very messy. Ambulances, fire trucks, tow trucks. It was dark by the time all the trucks were gone. Soon there was nothing but broken glass and bits of metal where the accident had been. He frowned. The people got where they were going. Resigned and a little bit mad, the boy climbed back down to his forest. Who cared anyway? So what if no one else came? This was his place. He would go back to his games and he'd play them tomorrow and the next day and the next until the road itself was gone. It was as he reached the bottom of the cliff that he saw them, 2 kids who had been thrown from the crashing cars over the edge of the cliff. Now they lay at the base of the cliff in the dirt of the forest. At first he thought that ambulances might have not known that they were here, but no, ambulances always know these things. As he got closer, he could see that neither their clothes nor their faces bore any sign of the accident. No rips, no scratches. This was a very good sign. The 2 seemed to be about 14 years old, a few years older than he was, and they laid a few feet apart from one another, both curled up like babies. One was a girl with pretty blonde hair, the other a boy who kind of looked Chinese, except for his nose and his light reddish-brown hair. Their chests rose and fell with a memory of breathing. The boy smiled as he watched them, and made his own chest rise and fall in the same way. As the wind passed through the trees of the forest, not rustling them in the least, he waited patiently for his playmates to awake. Ellie knew she was not in her bed even before she opened her eyes. Had she fallen onto the floor in the middle of the night again? She was such a thrasher when she slept. Half the time she woke up with the sheets tugged off the mattress and wrapped around her like a python. Her eyes opened to a clear sunlight streaming through the trees, which was not unusual, except for the fact that there was no window for the light to shine through. There was no bedroom either, only trees. She closed her eyes again and tried to reboot. Human brains, she knew, could be like computers, especially in the time that hung between sleep and wakefulness. Sometimes you said strange things, did even stranger things, and once in a while you couldn't figure out exactly how you got where you got. She wasn't bothered by this, not yet. She simply concentrated, searching for her memory for a rational explanation. Had they gone camping? Was that it? In a moment, the memory of the falling asleep beneath the stars with her family would come exploding back to her mind. She was sure of it. Exploding. Something about that word made her uneasy. She opened her eyes again, sitting up this time. There were no sleeping bags, no campsite, and ally felt strange. Like someone had filled her head with helium. There was someone else a few feet away, sleeping on the ground, knees to chest, a boy with a bit of an Asian look about him. He seemed both familiar and unfamiliar at the same time, as if they had once met, but only in passing. Then an icy wave of memory flowed over her. Flying through a tunnel, he was there. He had bumped her. The clumsy oaf. "Hello," said a voice behind her, making her jump. She turned sharply and saw another, younger boy sitting cross-legged on the ground. Behind him was a granite cliff that extended high out of the sight. This boy's hair was unkempt, and his clothes were weird, sort of too heavy, too tight, and buttoned way too high. He also had more freckles than she had ever seen on a human being. "It's about time you woke up," he said. "Who are you?" ally asked. Instead of answering, he pointed to the other kid, who was starting to stir. "Your friend is waking up too." "He's not my friend," the other kid sat up, blinking in the light. He had brown stuff on his face. Dried blood? Thought ally. No. Chocolate. She could smell it. "This is freaky," the chocolate boy said. "Where am I?" ally stood up and took a good look around. This wasn't just a grove of trees. It was an entire forest. "I was in the car with my dad," ally said aloud, forcing the scrap of memory to her lips, hoping that would help to drag the rest of it all the way back. "We were on a mountain road above a forest, only it wasn't the forest they had driven past. That forest was full of tall, dead tree trunks with stubby, rotting limbs. A dead forest," Dad had said from the driver's seat, pointing it out. "It happens like that sometimes. A fungus or some other kind of blight. It can kill acres at a time." Then ally remembered the squealing of tires and a crunch and then nothing. She began to get a little bit worried. "Okay, what's going on here?" she demanded of the freckled kid, and because she knew Chocolate Boy was as clueless as she was. "This is a great place," Freckled Face said. "It's my place, now it's your place too." "I've got a place," said ally. "I don't need this one." The chocolate boy pointed at her. "I know you. You bumped into me." "No, you bumped into me." The freckled Kim came between them. "Come on, stop talking about that." He started bouncing excitedly on the balls of his feet. "We got stuff to do." ally crossed her arms. "I'm not doing anything until I know what's going on." And then it all came crashing back to her with the fury of a head-on collision. "Yes," said Chocolate Boy. "I thought I dreamed it." It must have knocked us out, ally felt. It must have knocked us out. ally felt all over her. All over her body. felt all over her body. No broken bones, no bruises, not even a scratch. How could that be? We might have a concussion. I don't feel concussed. Concussions are unpredictable, Chocolate Boy. My name's Nick. Fine. I'm Allie. Nick tried to wipe the chocolate from his face, but without soap and water, it was a lost cause. They both turned to the freckled kid. You got a name? Allie asked. Yeah, he said, looking down, but I don't have to tell you. Allie ignored him since he was starting to become a nuisance and turned to Nick. We must have been thrown clear of the accident and over the cliff. The branches broke our fall. We have to get back up to the road. What would you want to go up there for? The freckled kid asked. They'll be worried about us, Nick said. My parents are probably searching for me right now. And then suddenly, Allie realized something she wished she hadn't. Maybe they won't, she said, if the accident was bad enough. She couldn't say it out loud, so Nick did. We could be the only survivors? Allie closed her eyes, trying to chase the very idea away. The accident had been bad, but there was no question about it. If they came through without a scratch, then her father must have as well, right? The way they made cars nowadays with crumble zones and airbags everywhere, they were safer than ever. Nick began to pace, losing himself in morbid thoughts of doom. This is bad. This is really, really bad. I'm sure they're all okay, Allie said, and repeated it as if that would make it so. I'm sure they are. And the freckled boy laughed at them. The only survivors, he said? That's a good one. This was no laughing matter. It made both Nick and Allie furious. Who are you? Allie demanded. Why are you here? Did you see that accident? Nick added. No, he said, choosing to answer Nick's question only. But I heard it. I went up to look. What did you see? The kid shrugged. Lots of stuff. Were the other people in the cars all right? The kid turned and kicked a stone. Angrily. Why does it matter? Either they got better or they got where they were going. And anyway, there's nothing you can do about it, so just forget about it, okay? Nick threw his hands up. This is nuts. Why are we even talking to this kid? We have to get up there and find out what happened. Can you just calm down for a second? I am calm, Nick screamed. Allie knew there was something off about the whole situation. Whatever it was, it all seemed centered on this oddly dressed, freckle-faced boy. Can you take us to your home? We can call the police from there. I don't got a telephone. Oh, that's just great, said Nick. Allie turned on him. Will you just shut up? You're not helping. Allie took a good long look at the freckled boy again, his clothes, the way he held himself. She thought about the things he said, not so much what he said, but the way he had said it. This is my place. Now it's your place, too. If her suspicions were correct, the situation was even weirder than she had thought. "Where do you live?" ally asked him. "Here," was all he said. "How long have you been here?" The freckled boy's ears went red. "I don't remember." By now, Nick had come over, his frustration diffused by what he was hearing. "And your name?" ally asked. He couldn't even look her in the eye. He looked down, shaking his head. "I haven't needed one for so long. I haven't needed one for a long time, so I lost it." "Whoa," said Nick. "Yeah," said ally. "Major whoa." "It's okay," said the boy. "I got used to it. You will too. You'll see. It's not so bad." There were so many emotions for ally to grapple with now. From fear to anger to misery, but for this boy, ally could only feel pity. What must it have been like to be lost alone in the woods for years, afraid to leave? "Do you remember how old you were when you got here?" she asked. 11, he told them. Said Nick. "You still look 11 to me." "I am," said the boy. ally decided to call him Leaf, since they had found him in the forest and he blushed at the name as if she had kissed him. Then Leaf led them up the steep stone slope to the road, climbing with a recklessness that not even the most skilled rock climbers would dare show. ally refused to admit how terrified she was by the climb, but Nick complained enough for both of them. "I can't even climb a jungle gym without getting hurt," he complained. "What's the point of surviving an accident if you're going to fall off a mountain and die?" They reached the road but found very little evidence of the accident. Just a few tiny bits of glass and metal. Was that a good sign or bad? Neither ally nor Nick was sure. "Things are different up here," Leaf said. "Different from the forest, I mean. You better come back down with me." ally ignored him and stepped onto the shoulder of the road. It felt funny beneath her feet, kind of soft and spongy. She had seen road signs before that said soft shoulder, so she figured that's what it meant. "Better not stand in one place too long," Leaf said. "Bad things happen when you do." Cars and trucks flew by, one every 5 or 6 seconds. Nick was the first one to put his hands and start waving to flag down help, and ally joined him on the second line later. Not a single car stopped. They didn't even slow down. A wake of wind followed each passing car. It tickled ally's skin and her insides as well. Leaf waited just by the edge of the cliff, pacing back and forth. "You're not gonna like it up here, you'll see." They tried to get the attention of the passing drivers, but nobody stopped for the hitchhikers nowadays. Standing at the edge of the road simply wasn't enough. When there was a lull in the traffic, ally stepped over the line separating the shoulder from the road. "Don't," warned Nick. "I know what I'm doing." Leaf said nothing. ally ventured out into the middle of the northern bound lane. Anyone heading north would have to swerve around her. They couldn't possibly miss seeing her now. Nick was looking more and more nervous. "Ally, don't worry. they don't stop, I'll have plenty of time to jump out of the way. After all, she was in gymnastics and pretty good at it too. Jumping was not a problem. A harmonica hum that could only be a bus engine began to grow louder, and in a few seconds, a northbound Greyhound ripped around the bend. She tried to lock eyes with the driver, but he was looking straight ahead. In a second, he'll see me, she thought. Just one more second. But if he saw her, he was ignoring her. "Allie," shouted Nick. Okay, with plenty of time to spare. Allie tried to hop out of the way, only she couldn't hop. She lost her balance but didn't fall. Her feet wouldn't let her. She looked down, and at first it looked like she had no feet. It was a moment before she realized that she had sunk 6 inches into the asphalt, clear past her ankles like the road was made of mud. Now she was scared. She pulled one foot out, then the other, but when she looked up, she knew it was too late. The bus was bearing down on her, and she was about to become roadkill. She screamed as the grill of the bus hit. Then she was moving past the driver, through the seats and legs and luggage, and finally through a loud grinding engine in the back, and then she was in the open air again. The bus was gone, and her feet were still sinking into the roadway. A trail of leaves and dust swept past her, dragged in the bus's wake. Did I just pass through a bus? "Surprise," said Leaf, with a funny little smile. "You should have seen the look on your face." Ooh. Wow. So, that was the end of chapter 2. I think I'm going to stop here. Please let me know if I should continue on. We'll have chapter 3 to go on. And yeah, I really love this book so much, and I can already picture it. It's like a movie in my head, and it's one of my favorites, and I'm really excited to be reading it to you guys. I hope you like it, and I hope it was really relaxing. And yeah. Okay. So, let me know if you guys want to hear more. I would love to read this whole book to you guys. That'd be a lot of fun. We could do little reading book episodes. Maybe we'll get to another book. That'd be a lot of fun. I have a lot of books that I would like to read. You guys can send me some recommendations on books to read. And yeah. So yeah, I love you guys so much, and I hope this was a lot of fun and relaxing. I will see you guys later. So I will see you guys later. Good night, good night.